Okay, everyone? Sound good? All right, let's get started. I'm going to go through a quick pit stop tour of networking and games. We're going to talk on why we want to do peer-to-peer, so why replace a server. Part 3, really going to dig into the meat of this topic. And hopefully when we've got time, we'll go over the conclusion and probably get about 5 minutes of questions at the mic situated there. So let's go. Talk goals. I'm going to highlight the dangers of making an open world game using peer-to-peer networking. This is not telling you how a peer-to-peer network works. It's talking about when you're using it, what's going to go wrong. So, for anyone who wants a little challenge, how would you network a door? Very simple object, swings open, situated in this open world. Everybody wants to see the same state of the door. Sounds easy? Yeah, easy? Okay, answers at the end. We'll see if everyone's feeling sharp. Okay, let's go. So for this talk, we're talking about the networking of the game logic. This is the state of the world. This is player position. Is it sunny? Is the wind blowing? Stuff like that. It's not everything to do with the game. And yeah, we've got online services that can utilize servers in different ways. So leaderboards, cloud saves, matchmaking. This is not what we're talking about here. Does everyone recognize this? This is client-server architecture. You've probably seen this in a textbook. Notice that there is no links between the clients. They all talk through the server. This is peer-to-peer. Everyone's familiar with this. And in games, we use a full mesh. Okay, so everybody's directly connected to everybody else. That's the fastest way to talk. Not really relevant for this discussion, but just to go over it, do we use TCP or UDP? Some games can use TCP, like a chess game. Most are going to use UDP, okay? We're going to use a library probably to do reliably ordered UDP. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, why replace a server? So to understand why we want to get rid of it, we've got to see what does a server give us. So does anyone want to shout out anything? No? Huh? Slow. Yeah, we got to. That's the next slide. Well done. So we got a central authority. Okay, you saw the diagram. Everything goes to the server and comes back. We're going to get arbitration of all actions. So if I want to do something, the server is going to verify it and it's going to send it to everybody else. Okay, so everything is authorized. Everything's a legit movement in the world. It gives you a simulation you can trust. If I want to go, where is this player in the world? We ask the server tells us that's the truth. And it's always there. Excuse me. So a server is going to be online. You're going to hope it's have a really good stability. It's going to be online for days at a time. No worry of it disappearing and messing everything up. That would be a dedicated server. So this all sounds good, right? It sounds really good for networking. All of these things are what we want. Why on earth would we want to get rid of it? Well, we've got to really dig into the requirements for an open world game. So if anyone's a gamer out there, they'll already kind of know this stuff. But just to give you a good look into it, we're looking at a real-time simulation, okay? We're talking physics, we're talking weather, we're talking gunfights, we're talking high-speed car chases, all these kind of cool things. They go really fast. We can't have a really slow connection to something making us move brick by brick. It has to be quick. This is a large world. This is a simulation of Montreal, Chicago, big cities. They're alive. There's things walking around out there. There's stuff kind of crashing into each other, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to arbitrate. The players can go anywhere in the world. There's no loading screens. There's no pit stops. There's no places we can hide latency or anything like that. It's fast. It's real time. So when we're playing online, these games normally have a big single-player element, okay? So if I have one model for handling, I'm driving a car real fast, I turn, a handbrake, feels good. When you're playing online, it has to feel the same, okay? Can't have a latency, but can I pull the handbrake? Server, yes, you can. You know, that kind of latency is milliseconds. It's going to feel terrible that you can't make a game like that. So here's a quick preview of what an open world is. You see this was a player, got a big box, that's our city. Everything's outside of this simulation bubble, okay? There's nothing there. We've got a finite amount of memory to fit this game in, this simulation. We're pushing If it's the console, we're pushing it to the max. So we have this little bubble, that's where the entities live, okay? So we got some, here we go, got some little entities. Imagine this is a pedestrian, a car, a tree, a box, whatever. Anything that animates, moves, these are called entities, right? Just think of an object, box, an entity. And as the player moves around the world, hopefully, there we go, what's gonna happen to this guy here? This little purple box? It goes away. There's no one to view it. There's no reason for it to be there. We optimize, we cut that out. It's gone. And as we move across, what happens? New things view the edge of the simulation. So I'm driving through the world. Cars are always there in front of me. It looks like I'm driving through this alive city all the time. How does this translate to multiplayer? Yeah, there we go. Simple. We just put another player in. Here we see player 2. 2 circles, okay? That's very important. What's inside of there? 2 full simulations of a city. And what looks here? We're overlapping. So we have overlapping simulations, 2 players, and we're not going to use a server. So the reasons to drop a server? Anybody? Before? The server's slow. Someone said it right the first time. Okay. But worst case for the server, you saw on the previous slide, we're going to simulate 2 full cities, okay? If we have this open world and we have 4 players, we're simulating 4 full cities. So the arbitration of the count of entities in these four cities, 4 simulations of a city, is big. We're talking hundreds. So hundreds of calls to the server. Can I move this? Can the tree animate? Is this the time of day? Okay, we've got a lot of calls there. It's gonna go really slow, guys. It's a latency issue. Geographically with servers, if anyone's a gamer, which server do you log into? A North American server, okay? If we've got players in Europe, we need servers over there. So it's a logistics, and it's a big cost. This, for any other type of software, even not just games, if you need servers, you need cash. You need lots of money. You need lots and lots of money, okay? So, see why this server's bad? Why does peer-to-peer beat this? Okay, here we go. Peer-to-peer network scales up. The more people involved in the simulation, we've got 1 player, 1 city simulation. We've got 2 players. We've got 2 pieces of hardware. We've got 2 consoles. Each of those can simulate a full city by themselves. That fits our original requirements for online games. Peers can send information directly to each other. There's no up to the server calculates back down to the other peer. It's direct, it's peer-to-peer. That's great. We can put peers together using some of our other technologies. We can put peers together in groups geologically close, okay? We don't need a server in Europe. We just have players in Europe, they can play together, that's good. Here's a big one, it's cheap. We get the players to pay for the hardware. We don't pay for the hardware ourselves, the players pay. Yeah. It's genius. So, that sounds great. Are things going to be easy? Remember that list of stuff that servers were really good at? Arbitration, authority. We just get rid of that and everything's going to work cool? Yeah, why not? When the players are apart, they're simulating their own worlds. There's no interaction with each other. Everything works great. They move around. We see one of the little entities disappear. What's this here? Got an overlap. Who's in charge? Both players try and put a new parked car down in the world. Who's right? Who has the authority? Okay? We're going to see glitches. We're going to see really bad things. It's got a low quality game. What about this? Both players try and get in the driver's seat of the same car. Who's in charge? Okay? It's pretty clear we've got an authority problem. Where there's no authority, there is chaos. Okay? When you play multiplayer games, you don't want to go, oh, that's rubbish. I got in that car. What's happening? You know, you want to see the same thing. You want to see the same simulation. Arbitration of each action between these players, peer-to-peer. For 2 players, that's okay, right? 3 peers. If you've got 10 people and you want to make sure you're all in agreement, how does that work in a network? You normally check the server will tell you the truth. If you've got peer-to-peer, you have to check with everyone. How slow is that going to be? Too slow. Might be fine for some software. For games, no way. So the potential conflict With not having authority, two players, both of them think they got in the car, both of them start driving. It's like it's a fork in the universe. Okay, we've got two different simulations running. The people think that they're playing together. It's not good. It's not good. It looks rubbish. So we need to add authority. It's a real simple step. And how do we add authority? We make it. Okay, that's cool. What are our requirements? We need to mirror the client-server model. Okay, what the client-server was giving us makes sense. We need to mirror it. It needs to be modular. We need to have little tiny chunks of authority. We can't just give one peer the whole responsibility of the server, because that person's game is going to run hella slow. It's going to be terrible. We have to distribute, and we have to be dynamic. Whoever's got the authority at this point in time might not be the best person in the future. So I'm going to use these terms, okay, just so everybody's on board. The server role, we're going to call it the master of an entity. Everybody else, as a client role, is going to see a replica. It's a replication of what's happening on the master. So master moves the entity forward, the replicas will move forward. Master-replica pattern, okay? So the authority of entities in the simulation is distributed. One of the peers goes, that car, that's my car. If you want to play with this car, you got to talk to me. Makes sense? Easy? Each peer has authority over the local player. So the avatar, the one you're moving around, you have authority on it, so it plays like a single-player game. Single player, I move, that's fine. Multiplayer, I move, I don't need to check a server. I move, I tell everyone else where I am, and they deal with that. For every other entity in the world, so look at a crowd like you guys, you're all little entities in my simulation. This chunk, that's peer 1. This chunk, that's peer 2. Okay? It's a spread of the processing power. It's going to reduce latency as best as we can. We can't get rid of it. That's a key factor. Next slide. How does a change of authority happen? So if somebody sat here is going to go across and walk over here. We already decided that this group is being looked after by peer 2. So let's look at a little animation I made. Very proud of this. They have an entity. Who's in charge of this? Peer 1 is in charge of this. What happens when it's going to leave player 1's simulation bubble? Okay, this should be really clear. Who should be in charge? Peer 2. Okay. Normally in single player, this guy leaves, he disappears. He's gone. But this person has moved into another live-in simulation. We have to hand over the authority. Does that make sense? Is everyone following that? Yeah, okay. Just don't want to go too fast. Migration, okay. If you've got a server and you're using a server, would you give your clients a nice big round button to press to turn the server off? No. Does that sound really terrifying to everyone? Yeah, so this is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. If I've got peer 1 in charge of a big chunk of things and they go, no, it's time for supper, woo, they're gone. Oh, no. We don't want to shut down the game, right? Old school games, the server would crash, everybody gets kicked off. This is not what we want. If I'm playing with multiple people, they all disappear, I still get to play, okay? It's an open world game. You're still going to be driving around, little message, peer 1's dropped out. Oh well, no one minds. We want to maintain consistency of that simulation. So we've got a chunk of people, entities, being controlled by peer 1. We have to migrate the authority to somebody else, okay? How should we handle this? So this is a really big problem. And we're going to call it the blow up the moon problem. So we've got an open world. Everyone's happy with this diagram. We've got 3 players, 3 peers. Got a little entity there. It's controlled by Master 1. The Master's peer 1. Okay. This is the moon, guys. Could be anything. This is the moon. Peer 1 is going to decide that due to the game, we're going to blow up the moon. Yeah, no problem. And then directly after it, it's going to disappear. I've disconnected. Blown up the moon, that's enough gameplay for me. I go. What do we do? Okay, we migrate the authority. Is that it? Is that fine? No. Okay, we all know network latency, it's a real thing. If I blew up the moon, maybe peer 2 got the message that the moon's blown up, and peer 3 didn't. That is the reality. We can't guarantee that everybody got all of the broadcasts from peer 1 before they disconnected. You know, it's not a server that's always there, always going to answer your questions correctly. That authority's gone. So let's say that peer 2 knows the moon's blown up, and peer 3 doesn't. What do we do here? We resolve the state. Peer 2 goes, yo, guys, I'm in charge now. This moon has been blown up. Peer 3 goes, thanks, great. That sounds easy, doesn't it? What if it's the other way around? What if peer 3 has the moon blown up and peer 2 doesn't? It's going to go, hey, peer 3, moon's totally fine. What do I do? Go. Sorry about that. Let's unblow up the moon. No, this is sounding ridiculous. Okay, so we've got to resolve. Now, in this case, peer 3 might go, hey, actually, for me, it's blown up. And peer 2 will go, oh, okay, cool. Peer 2 will blow it up and tell anybody else that it's blown up. That's fine. And then we're back at a synchronized point, move on with our simulation that's correct. This is just one entity. That sounds like a lot of hard work, and it is, but it's realistically what we need to do. This is the part of the talk I really don't like to say, but it needs to be mentioned. Who are these guys? Who are these people trying to make my life really hard? Yeah, look at them there with their headsets on. Okay, so this is more prevalent on PC. We have access to the memory and you can run tools, but it's still possible on console, and it's still possible with mobile because the clients have given a piece of the authority. Yeah, we're all clear on this now, that the authority is distributed. If I want to put my player here, then it's here. So what if I use a speed hack? Okay, I'm going to use something that allows my player to move faster than everybody else's. I'm the peer telling everybody where I am. How do we arbitrate this? How do we verify that someone's cheating? It's really hard, okay? Solutions for this? I'm not sure. I skipped ahead a slide. Okay. Here's a real tangible example. We'll go through it really quickly. Multiplayer race, okay? A car race. One peer has the authority to say, race has started. Wave the checker flag, everybody goes. Just before 3, 2, 1, go, that person pulls out their network cable. What happens? They start to race. They plug back in the network cable before they get disconnected from the server. The message leaves the router, goes to everybody else, and then everybody else starts to race. The host advantage, they've given themselves a 5-second head start playing the game. We've got solutions for this. It's pretty tricky. I'll let you find that one out. So that's a problem. If you can solve that, you want to talk to me afterwards, we can bounce ideas off each other. So solutions for hackers, there's no way to stop them, but you're going to try and build your game in a way where hacking doesn't really give you an advantage, okay? If you've got a game with an economy, if you've got a game with a really big progression tree, if you're an esport, you're going to need a server, okay? We're talking about open world games. What does it matter if this guy can run around the map really quickly? We just quit from this guy's game. We play with somebody else who's not a cheater, okay? Try and hack your own program if you're doing this. This is really fun. You can download some software called Cheat Engine. It has a list of checkboxes to allow you to hack any process. You want to make a game run twice as fast? You want to make a puzzle game go in slow motion? You're on PC, use Cheat Engine, you can do that. It's really, really easy. So play with it with your own systems, see what happens. Okay, so let's go over the summary. DAWs, super simple, okay? The moon only had one state, and that was pretty tricky. So what are we going to do with DAWs? We're going to give somebody close to the DAW the authority. It doesn't have to be the closest, just somebody who's simulating the DAW. That's good. Anybody who's a replica is going to ask the master, hey, can I open the door, peer 1? Sure, you can open the door. Everyone's in agreement. You can't just go and open the door. Okay, respect authority. Everybody respect authority. The master needs to tell everybody else. So there's lots of peers involved in this, okay? So when peer 1 asks peer 2 to open the door, peer 2 says fine. He goes, hey, all the other peers, the door is now open. And they go, we're opening the door. Cool. If the master leaves, we need to find a new master, and we need to resolve that state, okay? I'm the new master of the door. Hey guys, the door's open. Oh, the door's closed. Okay, come to some conclusion, resolve that, then you can continue on. Biggest pitfalls. Okay, this is a summary slide. We'll have questions right after this. I don't know what we're doing for on time. 5 minutes left. Right on time. Okay, bullet point. Peer-to-peer, no authority. This is the Wild West of network programming. We've got to, what we're missing from a server, we've got to implement it ourselves, okay? We've got to put it in there, and we've got to respect the authority. Migration can happen at any time. People can join, that's an easier case to handle, but somebody could join at any time. You need to give them all the correct information. Somebody leaves, you need to reconcile any missing data. And you're going to be open for hacking. So peer-to-peer is a tool. It's not a solution. I'm not telling you to start using peer-to-peer, but see if it's going to work for your game, your system, your service, anything like that. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, I'll take any questions. If anybody is too scared, you can go straight up to the mics, please. If anyone wants to talk to me afterwards, you can look up my contact information. My Twitter's on the speaker. It's Nathan Ross. Yes?
So it seems like a big problem is the agreement problem. Do you find that in any of the things you're doing, you're using the Paxos algorithm? And if so, is the latency good enough on that algorithm?
Say that again, quick.
I'm asking about the Paxos algorithm. Do you find that you're using that kind of agreement protocol, and is it fast enough?
Yeah. It's the fastest that we can do, so I'm not really sure of the exact point. The what algorithm?
So it seemed like the challenge was getting all the peers to be in agreement, right?
Yes.
And since the Paxos will guarantee agreement, wouldn't that just be good enough?
Right, exactly. So what we're going to do, we're going to deal with the peer-to-peer problem once only. So I got 5 people. I'm going to go between them and go, hey. Let's come to the slow conclusion of who's in charge. Once we pick someone to be in charge, we now only have a one-way check. I ask this one peer, they tell me back. It emulates the client server. The bonus is, if I am the master and I want to open the door, I just straight up open that door. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of the door. But it's slow to do that. Every time the door opens and closes, go, hey, is it okay, guys? Hey, is it okay? You know, someone's got to step up, take the authority, and then we respect that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, how do you guys handle like security issues with someone who's cracked their client? So like, let's say I somehow crack the client and I'm able to force master promotion at all times and never give it up for my client. And then I slow down everyone's response time. Like I don't send the packets out to the replicas. I just hold on to them a little bit longer. So I'm not giving myself a speed bonus. I'm just screwing them over.
So this is deeper into a security topic.
Yeah.
And this is really great. I'm not the authority on that one. But what we do in an open world, we try and give very, very little motivation to hack. If you're doing that and you're playing with me, what real effect do you have on me? You make me have a really bad game and I leave you, okay? If we're doing esports, your motivation is to get that rank. You know, there's still hacks out there for things with servers like a denial of service. I try and flood your router with packets to slow you down. You know, that's a real bad issue. We try and remove ourselves. We're like a fun little sandbox game. We do have competition. But if someone hacks, you just get rid of them and you can report them. Okay. So open world, it's not that big of a deal.
So you're depending on like the other clients, the replicas, to report. So like you basically
and we're expecting that we go, you're hacking. I'm going to drop out. I'm going to find somebody new to play with. Okay. It's a real quick turnover there.
Is there anything like versioning that you do, like versioning checking between the clients?
Oh yeah, of course. We have Ubisoft have DRM and stuff like that, and we try and stop this as much as possible, but to a cost-effective market. We're not going to try and crush it out 100%. It's not going to be worth it for us.
Sure. Okay, cool, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Hey.
Hey, kind of in the same line. If you're dealing with people that are hacking, for example, and you have something that is an economy like League of Legends or Dota or something like that, is the current solution to just default to server, or can you do peer-to-peer with like some kind of synchronization with a server like every
it's really hard to agree. But you can definitely have an algorithm to say, okay, everybody, we found out that this person, let's just say for the speed hack, for example, this guy's traveling super fast. And in our game, we know that the max speed you can go is however many meters a second. Then we could agree again between the peers to go, is that guy cheating? But we don't have we can never give an authority to say, this person is checking for cheats, because they could hack themselves.
Yeah.
So that algorithm has to be shared, and in an open world, like fun little sandbox game, it's not really important. You would probably go to a server,
okay.
And you could also retroactively check logs from games to try and use a bit of data mining to find like, oh, this guy seems to get 1 million XP every time he plays. Ban.
Yeah.
Then stop them connecting to the servers, and they're just screwed for playing that game.
But then how would you deal with like 2-player, one that's not hacking, but that's basically dispatching the same information as the one that's actually getting the bonuses, and they're not like huge bonuses? How do you use like statistical models to
it's a really sophisticated pattern to try and track down what is a real hack and what's not.
Yeah.
You see in CSGO tournaments, people are still using hacks in real competition. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But they get away with it until someone goes, that looks like a hack. You shouldn't be able to do that. There's no computational way to go, that's not allowed in our game. Because if we did, we'd have no bugs. Okay.
And also, how do you deal with people like, basically, when you're using peer-to-peer network, you're giving information about the, let's say, the network location of other players to other players. So how do you deal with people then abusing other players through knowing like their IP or location?
Oh yeah, we have a full stack of matchmaking tools. So like crazy stuff like NAT traversal, NAT punch, all kinds of services that are stacked up, and we will use a server to matchmake. Okay, you'll put forward a ticket and go, hey, I want to play this type of game. We'll put you in pools. We'll do all kinds of things, and at the end of the day, we're going to put you in an optimal peer-to-peer network so you can have fun and play fast. Oh yeah. Hey.
All right, so my question was, what happens when an object goes outside the scope of any given player? So for example, one player is right beside a car and it's going at, I don't know, 50 miles an hour, for example, and then he leaves. Is that still being rendered, or is that just gonna pause in time and not move, where realistically it would have been kind of further up?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of what you see in games are tricks. Okay, it's an illusion of a living city. It's not a true living city. So for example, even if I'm playing in single player, I see a car speed off down this road. If it goes outside of my simulation and then I go and catch up, it's not going to be there. You're not going to be able to catch it. If you're trying to do that in games, sorry to spoil your fun, it's not going to work. And it's the same. If it goes outside of that and ends up in another person's simulation, that person has to take control, and then they will continue to simulate it back around their city. But if it goes outside, it disappears. We have some exceptions, and for that we'll use like a proxy, a fake counter which will move, and we'll step it. We won't false physics simulation, because we do have a CPU target and a limit for that kind of stuff.
All right, thank you.
Great. Hey.
Regarding the door problem,
yes.
Have you considered replacing every door in your worlds with revolving doors?
Well, how fast is the door spinning? Yeah. All right.
That's all the time we have for questions.
We'll do afterwards.
Let's give
All right,
speaker
great.
a round of applause.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.